Hey, I'm Orla from GVO, your women's gear review channel. Today we are reviewing the Nomatic Travel Pack 20 litre. In this review, we have gone ahead and sectioned off the video into summary, key features, fit check, comfortability, airline requirements, pros, cons, and rounding out the video for who it is for and who it is not for. Okay, so let's get cracking with the summary. This is priced around $300. You can also opt to get it in the smaller version, which is the 14 litre, and that works out roughly $280. The materials are made up with tarpaulin exterior with nylon and polyester. The zips are coated, so overall this backpack just gives a super water resistant feel to it, and it just glides off it, the water that is. You do have a mixture of YKK and Zoom zippers, and with Wuji hardware. You have lockable zips throughout the bag and Hyperlong custom pillars, nylon webbing, and some back foam panels. This is a 20 litre, but it does expand up to 30 litres. The outer dimensions are 18.5 inches in height by 12 inches in width by 6 to 9.5 inches in depth, depending if you have it expanded. It is a weight of 4.6 pounds, which is roughly 2.08 kg. It does come in 3 different colours. So you got the black here, the navy, and the olive. For me, the style and shape is everything that I love with a bag. The fact that it can sit up by itself and you don't have to worry about it rolling forward. Even with the compartments filled out completely, like your side compartments, sometimes that may edge it towards rolling over. But with the bottom panel here, it just is well structured and there is padding where you need it. So Nomatic do offer a manufacturing lifetime warranty against defects in the materials, workmanship with their backpacks, bags, and luggage and accessories. It is a little different when it comes to their wallets, but the links are below if you wish to check out more. Another thing to note is that the hip belt is not included with this backpack, but we'll get into that a bit later when we do the fit check. Okay, time to get on to the features of this backpack. So this backpack does have a lot of organization and a lot of hidden wee gems. Like, I have been using it now for about a month, using it primarily for my work and gym bag, and it does work out well for when you kind of want to pack it up for those longer days. Like if it's anyone knows, like if you're doing a leg session and you've got shoes or pads or knee pads or anything like that, then you might want the extension. And then when you're maybe doing upper body, you can close that extension and use this kind of as your everyday bag. It just depends, like whenever you have more gear, and it is handy enough to have that extension so that you can just open it up when you need to. So the branding is subtle. They've got a little bit here on the front, a little on the straps, some on the back, and their logo is on the custom pillars. 4 handles, you've got one on the side here, one on the other side, and then your main kind of top loading one. The ones on the side here aren't accessible if you do have these compartments filled out, but it is great in terms of maneuvering it. If you are putting it in the overhead locker or you're maneuvering it from smaller spaces. This top handle is quite sturdy and it is also really comfortable because it has a lot of mesh to it, and it is super handy to be holding this for long periods of time, because sometimes people just shove a wee bit of that seatbelt material on the top handle here, and then if you do kind of want to activate that mode, it does become a bit exhausting for your hand because it's not as comfortable. But here they have implemented some foam. So on the sides here, you do have your 2 designated water bottle compartments. I have just packed out this bag for today's activities and what I'm doing. As mentioned, I have been using it for a month now for my everyday kind of carry and then onto the gym. This allows you to just open up the space. There is a bit of mesh, so it does suction around the product. This is a 500ml coffee kind of travel mug, and it just fits in well there. It doesn't take too much of the space. You can grab a bit of the handle here with this one, and if it's not in use, then usually it will kind of sling back depending on how long you've had that water bottle in there for, but it just has this magnetic close, so then the sleekness of it just stays in place with this bag, so you don't have to worry about anything bulking out. It remains intact. Then moving on to our bigger water bottle here. As you can see, it completely takes over the handle. But again, you can opt to go for a bigger, larger bottle. There is plenty of stretch in the mesh, as mentioned. I wouldn't feel comfortable putting a tripod in here. I wouldn't feel as secure because there is no kind of external loops. And I feel like with anything thinner, it might just be a bit looser in terms of even like bending forward. because with a tripod, sometimes you don't get that suction around the product. It really depends on the material and the size of the tripod. So let's move on to the first zip here, this front pocket. All the zips here are lockable, which is really handy. Apart from this top one, which we'll get into in a wee second, you can opt to put on your own lock if you want. It doesn't come with a lock, so that is down to you. And again, with this kind of zip, it is all amazing tapered together, so you don't have to worry about anything seeping in if you have any valuables in front. There is slight padding here. So I like to say sometimes if you have gear, like camera gear, and you're thinking about putting it in the front, maybe just pad it up yourself. You'll know whether or not you feel secure or not with it. And then you have these panels that allow it to stop it from flying forward. Sometimes with front pockets, they just fall to the ground. Then you're at risk of wear and tear for the front, but this just allows this to open like this. Then you can see what you're getting at, and also in terms of just organization and keeping everything intact, then you have that. In here, you do have 12 pockets. So you have a mixture of just the inside material, and then you have the mesh. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 of the mesh kind of elastic pockets here where you can fit any smaller items that you want to. And then you have a divider. So the divider just kind of splits the bag off. So you can opt to put maybe chargers or anything on that side, and then you have another kind of space compartment in there. You also have another 2 mesh compartments at the bottom, a zip pocket, 2 pen holders, and then you have your RFID blocking pocket here, which is your zip pocket, which is on the front. So if you are thinking about placing your passport or cards or anything in there, then you know it is safe. And also, this is lockable. So the inside zip is even lockable, which is... So if you haven't watched any of my videos, I am not a fan of organization. I do like minimal. Because I am just someone who chucks things in. Like I have the makeup bag, my charger, some porridge, and I just go and move on with my day. But I know people do love organization, like Sabrina would absolutely love this, because some people do like to be organized. Where me, I'm a little bit more chaotic. So that is that pocket. Plenty of space to play with. We love. Oh, sometimes this zip gets a little bit stuck. Just FYI. Then you have this top loading fleeced material pocket. Now this is really nice because you can put delicates in there, such as like your phone, or you could put your sunglasses in there. So inside here, you do have a loop that you can put through. So you could put your phone in here and put your power bank inside the bag and let that charge while you're on the go. Or you can opt to do it vice versa, whatever you feel secure in doing so, but that is in there, which is great. I have opted to put some perfume in there. I don't normally bring this with me, but that is what is in there today, so that's what you're getting. So kind of cracking on to this back pocket, which is interesting because there is many ways in which you can access this kind of style. So you can go from the top if you want to. You can look in, get what you need like this, but you also have the option to bring this down. There is no side kind of compartment stopping this from falling down, so just be aware of what you have on the front and in here to your own risk. And then this is where you have your little loophole that you can put your power bank into one of these mesh pockets. Now the mesh is absolutely stunning. I have to say, the materials are really nice. It is well put together, and you have the option to organize if you want. So for today, I have food. Shocker. Oh, I have more porridge. And then I have my gym shoes in there. No shoes on the table, but that is them. Is it no new shoes on the table, the superstition? That is them. I usually have them in there anyways. Usually if I have more kits, then I would extend it open, but we'll show you that in a minute. Then I have another water bottle. 1, 2, 3. Yep, that's 3 of them. Then inside you have more organization to play about with. So what comes with the bag is this. And what is this, you ask? This is a little box that you can use to put in your sunglasses. They even give you a little sleeve for it too. This becomes annoying for me, so usually I would take that out of the side pocket, because if I'm trying to place even like my water bottle in there or an extra water bottle, why would I need another one, I hear you say? But if I was trying to place it in, then that kind of stops me from doing that. But that is just a lovely wee touch from them, because some people do have and want organization, and that's just a nice wee touch. So as you can see, more organization mesh pockets here on the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you've got 6 pockets to play with, and then you have the bottom here as well. Now, when I first got this bag, the other thing that comes with it that I have chucked in the front, usually I have it up here, but it must have fallen, is the retractable key lash, which I absolutely adore. And I opt to put it on up here for reference, just because when it arrived, it was in here, one of these pockets. I think it was this one or this one. And I was like, well, I'm going to have to open the whole bag, dig down while all my stuff is there and get my keys out. It just made no sense. So maybe they just put it in there for you to move it about, because you absolutely can, because there is a clip to do that. So I have opted to put it on the front here. That means I can swing the bag around. She says, swing the bag around and get my keys out that way. So you do have options in how you want to play about with this bag. You could just open up this mesh and use that kind of compartment as well. If you wanted to, you could neatly, obviously, kind of tuck that away. Or you can close that up and you can open the bag from the extension. So to get to the extension, you're just opening up this kind of second back pocket here. And this is what brings it up in your leaders, and that comes the whole way right round, which is nice. And then inside that, yes, inside that is another zip. So to get into your kind of suitcase compartment, you're going to have to open it up again. And of course, I've left them in the most awkward positions. So let's have a nosy at this. So you have the option of getting in this way, or you can just making life difficult for myself. It's much easier than how I am presenting it. Then you have your kind of suitcase compartment. So what you can do is opt to place anything in here. You can play about with this space if you want to. There is plenty. You could probably put some packing cubes in there to kind of differentiate the pockets, or you can even open that up. There's just a lot to kind of play around with. You have a pocket in here, which at first I was like, oh, is that where I put my laptop compartment? Because that's a bit risque, but apparently no. Now this is where I should probably be putting my shoes. If I was anything into organization, then that's maybe where I would do that. But I just feel like that bulks up the space for me. But it works. So you just have an idea of what you can kind of get in there, or you can organize that being like your laundry if you're packing this up for a couple of days away. So that just gives you a little bit of space to play with here whenever you are extending it out, and then you can pack it up for longer days away. If you want to take this away for a weekend, 3 to 5 days, if you are a minimal packer, then you could probably even get a week out of this. But that just gives you that room to do so. In terms of the shape, when it is completely packed out, the shape remains intact. You aren't seeing anything bulking out. There is no weirdness to it. The shape is just what it is. For the extension, this just kind of gives you an idea of what it looks like. It is really nice. It's not one of those flimsy kind of extensions. I feel like with, Mac bags, that the material is just like weak and it kind of compromises the shape, whereas this just remains in its shape that it has been without the extension, so it just gives that clean, sleek look to it. So now on to your laptop kind of compartment. This is super handy for going through security. You don't even have to open up the front or the main part of the bag. You can opt to put your chargers or anything in there. And then with the laptop compartment, it is least lined. You have option to put in, if you have like a tablet or anything, into this kind of pocket. I can fit my 12-inch in there, but I will give you measurements just to let you know in terms of the space, so you can kind of weigh it up yourself with your own laptop. It does have a false bottom, so you don't have to worry about putting this bag down and your kind of tech accessories getting damaged. So if we are looking to use that strap, that is the bottom, you're looking at about just slightly under 14 inches there. That is using the strap, and that is the strap down. And across, it's going to remain the same, is just slightly over 10 inches, about 26 centimeters. If you're not looking to use the strap per se, and you just want to get the most out of the space, then you have, you get that right down to the bottom, just 16.5 inches, about about 41 centimeters. And that's just hitting the bottom if you are thinking about using that space fully and not wanting to use that strap, then that's the measurements that you have. Because I am obsessed with this measuring tape. That's about 9 inches, if that gives you any clarity on this pocket. And then about across, we've got over about 13.5 inches, about 30 cm across. So that is the size of that pocket, if that was of any help. Let's do the tablet compartment. I always sometimes miss this out, so let me know down in the comments if there is anything that you'd like me to measure for you before you buy a product. If I have reviewed it, I'm happy to do that, certainly. But the tablet compartment, if you want to use the strap, is 11.5-ish, 29 centimeters, and then across we've got about 9 inches, so 23 centimeters. That just gives you a rough idea. So now on to the back system. This is definitely one of my favorites in terms of the paneling, the padding, the foam, the mesh on the straps. I think they've done really well, and I'm actually a really hard critique when it comes to the back system and the shoulder straps, but I definitely feel like they've done it well in terms of airflow. They've got the mesh right, that it kind of just sits a bit forward, so you are kind of prompting your posture and you are getting the support you need, especially with a 20 litre, and if you are opting for the 30 litre too. What is a cool feature is that you can stow away the straps, which is super duper handy. The back system does come off. It is tough, so you don't know it's durable. Jesus, I nearly broke my arm. You can just store these away in there, and I think this is so much easier than just taking the whole thing off. If you are on a flight, you're using this as your carry-on, putting it in the overhead locker, you just want to protect your straps because you've paid a lot of money for this and you want it to be long lasting, then you can kind of do that, and you can do that for the same side as well. And that's just handy in terms of just keeping everything intact, and if you want to enter briefcase mode, then you can do so. Then you have a secret pocket that runs horizontally, so sometimes it is a bit of a nightmare trying to get in to get it. It's not as easy accessible, but you can fit something. Oh my God, my ring's down. You can fit something like your passport in there, or your phone, or anything that's just a little bit more delicate that you don't want exposed. The straps are thick. The kind of mesh foam here runs on, as mentioned. You do have some external loops here. If you wanted to place your retractable key lash there, then you can by all means do that. The sternum strap moves up and down. If you pulled hard enough, you could probably take it off if you wanted to. But you just be able to adjust that to your own built-in height, and it is one of those clickable ones. So I think I do enjoy the magnetic ones, but I feel like sometimes when you have the magnetic ones, sometimes they just come off. Whereas this, I guess, it is a bit more secured. Okay, time for fit check, comfortability, and whether this backpack has passed the female body test or not. Okay, let's start with it expanded so you can see what it looks like on me. Bear in mind, most days I have this heavier, like to the max. This is what it looks like on me with the extension. So I have previously used their 40 litre travel bag, and that has been prior to this my main kind of bag in terms of coming in and from work, which is about 45 to an hour walk most days, and then going off to the gym. So I do offer a bigger bag at most stages, but this one is just sensational. See, in terms of comfort, and the back panel, the straps, everything, it's just really taper tight to your back. You absolutely feel the mesh. It feels well supported. I think if you are packing this out and you're walking for long periods of time, then I would opt for the hip belt, because that just sometimes makes it feel more supported. Because whenever I do go up to the 30 litre, and as mentioned, when I use the 40 litre, I need the hip belt. So to have that option when you do pack it out and you really want to pack it out to the max, then I would opt to get the hip belt to just add that support. The straps are thick, right? And it does hug up here. So if you aren't wearing a jacket, then you're absolutely going to feel that rubbing, unfortunately. But most of the time where I live, this is what I'm wearing, is a jacket, because it is a rarity that we get sun. So moving on to placing in the sternum strap, you can just roll it up as you need and position it where you need it to be. It would have been nice to have a dangle stopper, although there isn't too much dangle. It's just nice to keep that in line, really. And the sternum strap is lovely. Doesn't really curve, but I don't like it, but sometimes you get like this bulkiness, but I guess that's just what you have to put up with if you're getting thicker straps and you're getting more comfortability, then you just have to suck up the whole curve. But this is how it looks all fitted on me with the sternum strap on. Literally about 9 out of 10 for comfort, 100%. And for the female body, it just curves really nicely. So it's definitely passed that test. So time to check if this fits the airline requirements. You are not going to get this in as a personal item unless your airline is completely generous. I know within the US, they are quite generous with their personal items, so you actually might be able to get that, but it's just a bit off without the extension open for EasyJet. And it is something that when it is packed out, you can absolutely try and squish it in because this bag is flexible, but you wouldn't be able to pack it out to its max, like its front pockets and all that there. And I definitely wouldn't risk it, just because, especially with EasyJet, if they see a bigger bag, then they are likely to check it. And I would worry that if you had it packed out, then it wouldn't fit.
Hey guys, I'm Bradley and this is Kazi. We are from Dream Big, Travel Far.
And we are running weekly gear giveaways in collaboration with Gear by Orla.
And if you want to be in with a chance to win, then hit that subscribe button and go to the first link in the description to join the newsletter.
Be sure to check your inbox every week to see if you are that week's lucky winner. We'll see you there.
Okay, time for some pros and cons. Honestly, this is my perfect everyday lifestyle gym to work backpack. I absolutely adore it, but that is just my opinion. It does make for a great wee carry-on kind of backpack so that you can pack it up for a couple of days, obviously depending on your airline and if you want to risk it. It's gonna differ, isn't it? But it is something that packs up well and you can take it for a wee weekend away. This material is definitely something I enjoy, especially for protecting your gear. So some cons in terms of hot weather. I know with their travel bag, the 40 litre, it isn't fun, especially with the weight of it and it being hot, and it's just not, it's just not fun. It's not lightweight, so it is heavy. That's why I suggest getting a hip belt for more comfort. So who is this backpack for and who it is not for? This backpack is for someone who wants an all-in-one style bag that you can use for travel. So you can pack it and take it away for a couple of days, or you could also use this as your gym bag, active bag. Again, I would opt for the hip belt if you are doing that and you are packing this bag to the full. I would say this bag isn't for someone who isn't like a fan of organization and they would prefer a more minimalist design, then this backpack is probably not for you and your money might be better spent on something more minimal. So this is the end of our review. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, then why not consider joining the GBO community and hitting that subscribe button. If you are thinking about purchasing this bag, then we would appreciate it if you could use the links below. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.